Hello and welcome back to A New Orbit here, episode 251. My name is Tom.
And my name's Ant.
You can find us at abhpod.com, where somewhere down the main feed there is an Amazon banner. If you scroll down, you can find it, click through it, do all your shopping on amazon.co.uk, as you would usually do, because let's face it, you do. And we get 5% of your total basket spend at the end for no extra cost to you at all. It just means that we're taking a little bit of Amazon's profits and using it for our hosting fees to keep us on the interwebs for free.
Yeah, and sometimes you forget to use our banner, and that's okay. And if you feel guilty about that and you do want to support us, you can do it on a regular set and forget basis by going to our website, abhpod.com, and around that same area of the website where the Amazon banner is, there's a Patreon banner. You click through that, and for as little as $1 a month, that's all we ask for. You can choose. More. You can choose to donate more. Once you start signing up, it will say. It will give you the option. Yeah. But if not, just give us $1 a month, or donate. Sorry, $1 a month. Don't give it to us. Donate your $1 a month, and you get extra audio content. You'll get after the podcast. You'll get the main episode without the intro. You get spoiler casts as we record them. And if there was a particularly funny conversation that didn't make it into the episode that we had after or before, or outtakes, we might put that up on as well. And all those audio extras actually get consolidated into your own personal RSS feed. You can copy that feed and you copy it into your podcatcher, and you'll get ABH Pod like supporter feed in your podcatcher with the gold thumb. So it looks different.
The gold thumb.
It's coveted. So it looks different as well. So you'll get that, but also you get YouTube content. Tom and I sort of trying to make it a bit more regular again. We'll do gaming videos, and you'll get those a week early if you're a Patreon supporter. We'll send you a link to that.
You can find us online as well to interact with us, which we're making a lot more of the interactions because we're having more interaction recently. You can find us on Twitter at ABHPod. You can find us on Facebook.com/ABHPod. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/ABHPodcast.
Yeah, and you can contact us via email as well, abhpod@gmail.com. If you've got a long form interaction you want to have with us and you don't want to make it public, it's just for us, just send it to us. And we will read it out, unless you tell us not to, specifically.
Indeed. On this episode, we talk about the online calling out of Greta Thurnberg, even though she's trying to do good stuff.
Bit questionable. We talk about music as well. I love music, and the fact that we feel like we're back in the 90s again. Or early 2000s.
And we talk about random acts of kindness and weird kind of pranks that are going on at the moment, like the TV head guy. Weird. But no malicious, so it's good. And
in a way linked to the Greta Thunberg thing Tom spoke about earlier, Tom and I began to talk about the fact we don't really want to change, and it makes us feel really awkward.
Yeah, but first let's talk about an invasive species in the line of methed up squirrels. This is a more underwater invasive species that's coming to our country, taking our worms' jobs.
Enjoy. I've got the headline for this story is very similar to something we spoke about last episode.
Right.
When we spoke about the squirrel.
Okay.
Quite our imaginations. This headline from Metro News: a highly toxic Pacific deathworm has invaded Britain, scientists confirm.
Of course it has.
Pacific deathworm.
It's come from the Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Giant deathworm. Scientists have discovered more evidence proving that a poisonous and highly dangerous worm is now living in the UK.
It's an illegal immigrant.
That's it. I've been coming over here, stealing our worms' jobs. The horrific beastie called.
Go on.
It's a Latin name.
Come on.
Cephalothrix simula.
Yeah, go with it.
Cephalothrix simula. Yeah. And contains neurotoxins that are potentially fatal if they enter the human body.
Okay.
Researchers from the University of Southampton found the monster lurking in the coastal waters of southern England. The deadly worm usually lives in northwestern Pacific and has been found thriving on Japanese beaches.
Right.
I'm reading it verbatim.
This is a long way. It's like half the world away from that. So how the fuck has it got here?
No idea. But the species now but the species now crept into European waters and are slowly conquering the UK too. It was one of 18 non-indigenous species spotted during tests of marinas in Southampton water, Anglesey, just in case you didn't know, the Bristol Channel and the River Blackwater. New technique involving the detection of environmental DNA was used to detect the creature. Where is it? Scientists analyse water for traces of sperm, eggs, or any other debris, such as fish scales, which indicate the presence of species. This is getting all into the science of it. So the highest toxicity of sea simula, thank you very much, exceeded the human lethal dose per a single worm. In a paper published in the journal Marine Drugs last year, they're not. This is annoying. So they've linked, they've turned the phrase journal Marine Drugs into a link rather than just Marine Drugs and saying it's the so that's it looks like it's the name of it. It's called Journal Marine Drugs.
Yeah.
Anyway, where is it? The species has been associated with high levels of the marine neurotoxin tetrodotoxin, traditionally associated with pufferfish poisoning.
Okay.
I read an article where it says it's like this many micrograms per this, and it's like not a huge amount.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at like Yahoo and MSN news pages as well, and they're saying that it's more poisonous than cyanide and arsenic.
Yes.
Now, whether or not that's cyanide and arsenic mixed together into a super poison,
whether it's
I'm not
cyanide
sure.
and arsenic,
or cyanide and arsenic.
Yeah.
Like where's the where's the emphasis?
Yeah.
Cyanide and arsenic, or cyanide and arsenic?
Yeah.
So that's pretty scary.
It's just another reason not to go in the water, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like the sea anyway. I don't like this huge open body of water. In the UK, I don't like the fact I can't see what's beneath me.
Precisely that. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not a not a strong swimmer. I can't tread water, so if I go out of my depth, that's me done.
Yeah. I mean, the older I've got, the less bothered I am about getting in the water.
Doesn't matter.
I'm really not bothered.
Go knee deep, I'm fine.
Especially, this country, you don't get warm water.
No.
We don't have warm seas. And if there's going to be... Because I wondered whether it was going to be one of those bobbit worms that we talked about years ago. That thing that was in one of the aquariums in London, and it was eating all the fish.
Oh, okay.
The things with the snapping jaws that live in the holes.
Makes my skin crawl.
Yeah. Because they're scary, but no, apparently not. Like, this is have you got the pictures of it? I think it's kind of
No, I just got a picture of like England. It's
okay. Because no one actually knows. There's no actual evidence. No one's seen
Pacific death worm.
Pacific death worm. It's a hitchhiked ride on the bottom of a boat or something. I mean,
okay.
How else can it? I don't understand how a sea worm, they've got. They're not
intelligent
things
creatures.
that can.
Okay, there it is.
Swim around on their own. Yeah, it's like a little. It's like one of those little. You used to buy them. They were like a couple of quid, and they were attached to like a piece of string that you'd put in your waistband. And those wiggly worm things. It looks like one of those.
Bit of fishing wire.
Yeah, a bit of fishing wire that you would loop between your hands.
Fluffy without the googly eyes.
Yeah, well, fluffy, but all those little fluffs are barbs,
probably yeah.
Filled with horrible.
Even though
neurotoxins.
it looks like the. Do you remember when you used to get like the plastic handle with the sticky hand on it?
Right.
It's just without the hand on the end. It's just the. So yeah, Pacific death worm swimming in our waters.
Excellent.
Just, so it said like Southampton, Bristol Channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was down that way recently.
We're going to Cornwall. We're going south coast to Cornwall though, so we should be all right.
Yeah, we were in Dorset, which isn't all that. We went down to the coast as well. We didn't go in the water.
No.
But
no, we will be going in the water because Liz likes the water.
Yeah.
And Chloe does as well. But yeah, no, like when we went to Mallorca, I did go in sort of neck deep.
Yeah, the Med's fine. And,
it's fine. All you've got to worry about there are sharks, really.
Yeah, the sharks live in the Med?
It's warm water, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, not big.
I don't know if sharks do live in the Med. I think that's just a
There's got to
Jaws.
be some there.
Maybe I wouldn't have said great whites.
Oh no, there's not going to be
I'm
stuff
just gonna
like that.
have a little
No.
look.
Did you see a video that, speaking of sharks, there was a video, I need to find it, with like, there's lots of people trying to, there was a shark beached itself and they were trying to push it back into the water.
Yeah.
It was a hammerhead shark.
Yeah.
They
And
were like manhandling it back into the water.
yeah.
They're crazy. Like
Yeah, I
hammerheads
think
are really, really
Wasn't
dangerous.
it like something? It had like a fishing line stuck in it or something
Probably.
like that, and they wanted to get it out because it made it mad and
Yeah.
made it beach itself.
It made it really angry, so they
So
decided to...
you put your hand near the gills and mouth of a really angry shark. Like it nearly got a couple of them as well, didn't it?
So,
Like
just, what?
right there are actually black-tip sharks, smooth hammerhead sharks,
Brilliant.
scalloped hammerhead sharks, great hammerhead sharks, short fin mako sharks,
Great.
and a bunch of others. It seems.
Hammerheads in the med. Brilliant.
Yeah. So yeah, there are, but yeah, I don't know, like
The sea is
sand
just a
tiger
terrifying
sharks,
place.
sand
tiger
sharks,
eh?
spinner sharks. Yeah. So maybe there are in the med.
So that's why I only sort of go neck deep, although that's
Yeah.
deep enough for some.
Yeah. I mean, I tend not to even do that. I mean, I like I say, I don't even do that anymore. I used to go out on lilos and stuff.
And when I say, actually, to be fair, I don't go neck deep, as in I don't go in, so it's as I'm standing. I will go in sort of waist deep and then crouch.
Right, I get you.
I will sort of sit.
Yeah, my whole thing, I think, like, as soon as I learnt about sharks like to kind of, they bite to make sure you're something
They can eat.
they can eat. Like, so they're going to bite you anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on, like, a bodyboard or because I used to do bodyboarding and stuff like that in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And every couple of years, a great white just appears in Cornwall. Like, it's weird.
Excuse me, can you tell me how to get back to the Atlantic?
I'm lost. But generally speaking, the only sharks around the British Isles that you really have to, that you ever really see, and you don't, are kind of basking sharks,
Yeah.
which are the vegetarian ones anyway.
They've got the teeth.
Yeah, no, they're proper righteous about it as well. Like eating meat's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not even fish. Fish do have feelings, you know. That's why I'm eating krill.
Fish
But
are
krill are animals. So why are you doing? Well, you know,
Fish are
they don't have any
friends, not food.
Bruce.
You'll start seeing these like sharks with like vegan swimmer shirts on. Oh god.
Dear.
I was going to say actually, speaking of sharks, you'll like this.
Okay.
Speaking of sharks, Trump to drop out of the 2020 race within months. Former aide Scaramucci claims.
Right. Well, you can't really kind of believe a word that falls out of that shitbag's mouth, can
Exactly.
you?
That's what I saw the headline. I was like, oh really? And then I started reading it. I was like, oh,
Nah.
this guy sounds like Trump.
Yeah, he was a speaker for him for a little while between Sean Spicer and Kelly Conway.
Yeah.
Like he brought in, and he's basically like he's a proper Wall Street kind of New Yorker. Like he's got that kind of bullshit bro thing going on.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, he's an arsehole.
Like he said, he's going to drop out of the race because it's going to become very clear. Okay, it will be March of 2020. He'll likely drop out by March of 2020. It's going to become very clear
Yeah.
that it's impossible for him to win. And this was in an interview with Vanity Fair.
Right.
He's got the self-worth in terms of his self-esteem of a small pigeon. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah,
He thinks a huge lot of it.
he's still quite bitter about being fired.
It's a very small pigeon.
by Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you think this guy's going to look at those poll numbers and say, he's not going to be able to handle that humiliation. This guy.
Yeah.
He made an analogy, using like a Game of Thrones analogy to make his case. You know, this is like Game of Thrones. We need an Arya Stark, okay? We got to take this guy out because this is like the Night King.
Wow, he's actually talking about assassination then.
The minute the Night King is vaporised, all the zombies are going to fall by the wayside, right? We had the Wicked Witch of the West, but here's the Wicked Witch of the West Wing. We got to get some water thrown on him. He'll start melting. Like,
So do we throw water or do we stab him in the chest with a piece of frost ice dragon glass?
Like, in recent weeks, Scaramucci has escalated the feud with his old boss, saying Mr. Trump would eventually turn on the entire country, likening him to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Real sensitive.
I mean, yeah. Like I say, the guy's got an axe to grind because he was let go, basically. But then there's so many people that have been fired from that administration. That, like, yeah. But I think he was almost promised like this job that was going to get him in front of TV cameras and stuff. And I don't know what he was before this. I think he was a banker or something.
Probably.
Pretty sure he was.
Wasn't a politician.
No. I mean, and he didn't have to be a politician because he was literally the press. He was the go-between between the president and the press.
Yeah.
So, all he had to be good with was words, but he just. I remember him being interviewed by someone from the BBC, and he was being really condescending to this female reporter, and quite kind of like, kind of aggressively talking her down on everything and stuff. He just came across like a complete cunt.
Yeah. I don't know where he gets this idea that Trump's going to drop out then. And saying he's got the self-worth of a pigeon, like... No, like, Trump thinks a huge amount of himself. Like... He's... Yeah. I was taken in by that headline, because that's how it works. And it's just loads of waffle, isn't it? It's just people having a go at each other. Yeah,
and that's all politics is, and it has ever been.
Yeah,
but it's more so now, isn't it?
Speaking of people just shouting at, because it's like people have stopped talking about Scaramucci, obviously. So then he just comes out and says this to get spoken about. There was a journalist that Joe linked you to on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or she mentioned
what was her
you.
fucking name?
I don't know.
But she went after Greta Thurnberg, didn't she?
Big woman.
The climate change activist who's like 15 years old with severe Asperger's.
This woman, what's her name? Sorry.
I'm just getting there.
Julia Hartley Brewer.
That's it, yeah.
Tweeted, "Hi Greta, I've just booked some long-haul flights for my family to enjoy winter sun on the beach this Christmas. Level of guilt being felt 0%.
Yeah.
Like, ow. So people who don't know who this Greta is it Thurnberg? Greta Thurnberg. She's, like you say, it's not a political activist. She's a climate change activist. And she's just embarked on like a journey. Oh, where's she going to? She's going to talk in the States, isn't she?
Yeah, well, she came over here. The reason that this particular idiot had a go is because Greta Thunberg joined the Extinction Rebellion marches in Portsmouth. Right. Or possibly London. She landed in Portsmouth. She came across by boat. Yeah. Because she doesn't like flying because it's bad for the environment, Yeah. And yeah, I think she's going to America, but it's a fucking long time on a ferry. Yeah.
She's on a boat, and it's her dad, and another guy, isn't it? It's just three of them, from what I read. Yeah. So it's just her and two other guys who, like, obviously know how to sail. So yeah. So it's like minimal people, and they're just sort of crossing the Atlantic on a sailboat, and but like by all accounts, like as it sort of left the port, she was already getting seasick, and she's sort of crossing the Atlantic in hurricane season. It's going to get pretty choppy out there. Yeah, it's not a good idea, I don't think, personally. No, but this woman is saying that this girl is getting used to like push a political agenda for climate change and blah 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 blah. Which in one sense you're like, yeah, maybe they are sort of latching on to her to further their cause. But the other thing to look at is her parent. Like, she feels passionate about this thing, and her parents are giving her the opportunity. Go tell people about it. Yeah. Speak about it. And to be fair, like, she's done quite a lot of high-profile
speeches to governments, to... I think she was at the UN recently as well, you know, making a claim. Because the only other person doing this kind of thing is Richard Attenborough. David Attenborough, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, he did his big thing at, like, Glastonbury. He's also done it. Didn't he? He did another speech recently in America, I think.
Yeah.
About it. And yeah, it's just it's interesting that this is coming from a 15-year-old girl. I think she was probably 14 when she started doing this last year, and she became.
I think I remember. Is her dad a lawyer?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a video of a kid speaking in like some courthouse about like quite eloquently spoken and people then came out at the time and were like, oh, like her parents obviously wrote this, and they're like, no, she wrote this and wanted to say it. Yeah,
absolutely, because she's got Asperger's. She can laser focus in on one particular thing, and that's her particular thing is like anxiety over climate change and the effects that it's going to have and all that. You know, she's done her research into it and she's talking about it from a child's perspective, and she's actually, you know, talking a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, there was a reply just part way down the thread there, and it's from another journalist called Hannah Jane Parkinson, and she said, "Isn't your daughter also in her teens? I find it unfathomable that you would tweet like this. In fact, even if you had no kids, this aggressiveness towards a child, B, one who has very specific vulnerabilities, and C, is doing her best to literally save the earth is wild." To which Julia Hartley Brewer said, "One, I would never exploit my child for political ends, unlike Greta's parents."
But they're encouraging her.
It's not.
I look at it as encouraging her.
I can't
activism.
believe that they're making any money out of it. They might get paid travel expenses and being put up places, but that. There's a half kind of point there.
There is.
The fact is, like, without taking some sort of expenses from it, they wouldn't be able to visit the places that she needs to talk at. You know?
This is it, and
the fact that other children can see this child, someone their age, is making this massive deal. Like, she was one of the first ones to say, "Look, I'm not going to school until this is being sorted out on government levels." And then following that, like so many kids, there are certain schools that give their children one day or like half a day a week or something now
to go out
and have their little protest signs and stuff, which is, you know,
and this is it. You can look at it as they are exploiting her. What am I looking for? Exploiting her. Are they exploiting her for monetary gain? No,
I don't think they would be.
Are they making, like, possibly monetary gain in the sense, they're not having to pay for trips
travel
that they may have had to pay for to get her to speak at these events?
But they're not making.
Are they making a profit?
I would doubt they're making a salary off it.
No. So you can look at it exploiting in that terms. Maybe it's something they care about, so they are using their child's passion to further their gain. It's like, the other way to look at it is they are exploiting her. To inspire other children. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say not a bad thing.
I'm sure if she turned around and said, "I don't want to do this anymore," they'll probably go, "Okay,
fine." Yeah, because again, it's that whole thing with Asperger's is you can't block the thing.
No,
that they're interested in. These kids are interested in, because that would cause all sorts of other.
That's it, and you can't make them do something they don't want to do. You can't do that with any child.
No.
If you try and make them do something they don't want to do, that's not good for their health at all. So, fuck it, exploit her if it's going to inspire kids.
Yeah. Number 2, I haven't been remotely aggressive towards Greta. My tweet simply mocks her ridiculous demands.
Mocking is a form of aggression.
3, she is promoted as a spokeswoman for a generation and a cause, so it's legitimate to question her cause.
Why?
Depends whether the facts are there, doesn't it? Or you know, I mean, obviously this person may well be this Julia Hartley Brewer seems to be maybe a climate change denier. in that
Sounds
case.
that way, doesn't it?
4, she isn't trying to save the Earth. The Earth doesn't need saving. She is just being exploited by a cynical eco-cult to further their political aims.
Why are you
So that's
targeting
Extinction
her?
Rebellion she's now talking about.
Yeah, my question is... on
Why
this,
aren't you going after them?
Yeah, why is she targeting the person being exploited?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're being
Yeah.
targeted enough.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go after the
But
people
she
that-
also didn't at Greta Thurnberg into this either, which is another thing that people are like, if you're going to say this shit about her, say it to her face, which has always been my thing on the internet as well. Like, if you want to bitch about someone, at them in something, you know.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and don't be passive about it.
Yeah. But then on the other side of that, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want loads of abuse targeted at me with ats. You know?
Yeah, and the thing is, as she is a minor,
Yeah.
she's not an adult, atting her.
Yeah.
It's almost like bullying. It's actually saying, "Hey, look over here. I'm having a go at you." I think they call it doxing.
Oh,
Because
really?
if she ats her into it, and then this journalist has got lots of followers who also feel the same way, they can then join in on the thread, and it'll be loads and loads and loads of messaging towards her. I'm sure she gets enough abuse on Twitter as it is, Greta, unfortunately.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, about being someone
When
who's
you're a
out there with a
person.
Yeah.
When you're the face of something.
Yeah. And again, that kind of ties into this Julia's thing. Like, she is a spokeswoman for a generation and her cause, so it's legitimate to question that. Yeah. I don't know, though. Like, there's a difference between...
But she wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
The tweet, she wasn't questioning it. The tweet was targeting the fact, look, I'm using a jet and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? It was childish and pathetic.
Yeah.
But weirdly, you saying that, like, why aren't you then talking about, you know, why aren't you taking on Extinction Rebellion and Greta's parents?
Yeah.
The fifth thing is you should aim your anger at them.
Go on then.
Go on then.
Yeah.
6, it is unfathomable that you are a working journalist and don't understand these things. Yeah, she just... It's like what I said to Joe, because Joe tagged me into it and was like, this cunt. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm not... I can't get angry at this woman because she's literally out for attention and this is exactly what she wants. Like, she's got like a... She's one of these kind of radio presenters, a bit like... she's on talk radio. And she's a bit cunty Hopkins. She's a bit kind of... Is it Nick Ferrari is the other one on LBC?
Oh, I don't know.
Or like... LBC gave Nigel Farage a show, for Christ's sake. You know, like, fuck them. They've all got their own... Everyone's got their own agenda. And this, to me, was just like... It's someone who needs a ratings hit.
It is.
You know, that's what it is.
She is accusing Greta's parents of exploiting her, or accusing like Extinction Rebellion of exploiting her for their own gain.
Yeah.
This woman is exploiting Greta for her own gain.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. And her gain is what? It's literally getting listeners. It's literally getting attention on the internet. That's all it is. Whereas
it's going for the easy target, the same way Cunty Hopkins did.
Yeah.
You go for the easy target.
Yeah, precisely. Whereas if Greta's parents or even Extinction Rebellion are exploiting this 15-year-old child, they appear to be doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's difficult. Like saying
I don't believe that they are.
No. And this is the thing. It's saying that way, exploiting a child, but it's doing some good. It sounds really, but that's not what
that's
we
not
mean.
Precisely
that's not
what
how
I mean.
we
no,
mean
no.
it.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
It's less exploiting and more like this girl has a passion. Let's
support it.
Let's support it. Let's
see how far it goes. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Let's encourage it.
The worst thing that can happen is that loads of other kids start to protest, which they have done.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was up in Manchester at the beginning of the summer, I said that I was kind of almost kettled.
Yeah.
There was a massive march through the streets there, all school children, all with banners and stuff.
Yeah.
I failed to get a video.
Yeah.
Massively. It recorded for like 2 seconds of my fat thumbs
stopped it.
Yeah. And yeah, like there is no doubting that this girl has politicized and engaged children around the world. Like, she's from Sweden. She's, even inspiring other people in the EU is great. I'm pretty sure there are other movements in countries outside the EU as well. I'm not, I'm not going to bring anything up, but because I don't have any stats, it's all pure guesswork.
Yeah. Cool.
But like the fact that she's inspired protests around Europe at least is testament to the fact that there is a message. This is a legitimate message that needs to be spread. Maybe all we really need to do is plant a bunch of fucking trees.
Yeah. Stop knocking trees down.
Because there was something I read a couple of days ago that literally if you planted trees, and it sounds ridiculous, but if you planted an area the size of the USA with trees, now that's spread out around the globe, so when you're thinking about that, like, it's a massive landmass, but spread out across the globe. If you planted that many trees, it would seriously reverse a lot of the damage that's been done to the climate, and it would probably bring down. And
that is a huge task, and
of course
it would take a long time because obviously you've got to let those trees mature, blah 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 blah. But I mean, the other argument I've got, like, and put it simply, is even if you are a climate change denier, even if you don't believe in it, even if it is a load of bullshit, and climate change is bullshit, and it is something people are pushing for this, that, and the other. What harm is it doing?
When you're trying to better the environment,
when you're trying to
clean
plant
up
trees,
the air.
Reduce like air pollution, because if it doesn't, it might not damage the ozone layer. Who knows? It might not be damaging the earth, but it's certainly damaging our body. Pollution.
Yeah,
pollution
absolutely.
damages the bodies. Plant trees, reduce pollution. Stop relying on like these limited fuels, like these limited resources, and rely on more natural resources like wind, solar. What harm is that doing? How is it hurting anyone?
Zero.
The only people it's hurting are the oil companies, who probably pay your wages.
Yeah, precisely. And like the oil companies are finally coming around to the fact that lots of people are waking up to the electric vehicle industry,
and they're investing in electric.
That's it, isn't it? It's they're going to change their business model. That's all they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to spend the billions and billions that they make a year on wind farms and solar. Like, you'll still get Shell garages, but there'll be charging stations. It will still be the same fucking companies.
And when everyone's charging for electric, like recharging your electric vehicles, you can probably start charging more.
Yeah.
And making money that way. What harm is like protecting the environment doing?
Now, to play devil's advocate slightly.
Yes.
Because it's kind of, one of these things. The climate change activists and people that are pushing the climate change agenda, like Extinction Rebellion, are like, if we don't change something now, we're fucked in the next year.
Nah.
And now, if that's the case, I'm not changing my habits. What's the fucking point?
Yeah, we're not going to do much in a year.
How is me putting my, sorting my recycling out into plastics and non-plastics, how's that going to change anything in the next year? It ain't.
Unless everyone does it.
Yeah,
which they're not.
They're not going to do, And equally, I travel as part of my job. I have to take airlines, Like, people aren't going to stop flying on their holidays. People want to go on holiday. People aren't going to stop flying. Equally, people aren't going to give up meat. They're not.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
No.
I like the way animals taste. Sorry.
I've changed my meat eating habits. I don't eat bacon in the morning anymore.
Right.
I eat turkey bacon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I
just changed the type of meat I eat.
I think it's unnatural the amount of meat that we do eat.
Massively.
It's kind of weird that you eat meat with everything. Because I do, pretty much. Like,
I'm eating meat for breakfast now.
Yeah,
I didn't used to eat. I didn't used to eat meat regularly for breakfast.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I have like scrambled eggs on toast. I'll
stick
put
a
some
bit of
protein
bacon
with
on
it.
that.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm going to have
yeah,
bacon
yeah.
with it now as well.
Yeah, and I do believe that I kind of I wish that I could cut down on it, but I just like it.
It's nice.
Yeah, and I know that the beef industry is like the biggest kind of
It is horrific.
yeah, and large scale farming and abattoirs in general are horrible places, and I do distance myself when I don't think about the meat on my plate as the animal that it's come from.
I mean, like,
Because when I do, it puts me into like a spiraling depression.
yeah. I mean, it's like people, but you get people who defend it, going, well, if we have too many cows, then the methane produced is going to damage. Yeah, it's going to change the. And it's like, yeah, but the reason we've got so many cows is because they are being bred to go to the slaughterhouse for us to eat. If you left the cows, if you had like a massive pole and then stopped this meat farming and left them in the field, they wouldn't reproduce at the rate that we make them reproduce.
No.
The amount of cows we have on this planet is unnatural.
Yeah. Well, they're not. I think I don't know where I heard this, but I'm pretty sure cows don't occur naturally anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
well, no,
like they're not. They're not an animal because they're all.
They're all farmed now.
Farmed, yeah.
Yeah.
Like cows aren't like the cows as we know them now are not naturally occurring animals or something.
Oh, okay.
Like yes, we breed them to be the way because we saw a cow in Dorset very close up.
Yeah.
We were walking from the little village that we were staying in to the Abbey to have a look round.
Yeah.
And on the way we passed a field and you look at a cow. It's a weird shaped animal.
Yeah.
Like it's square.
Yeah.
For a start, it's perfect. It's almost oblong, with a head on one end and a tail on the other.
Yeah.
Like even the front bit like juts out in a 90-degree
square,
right angle,
yeah.
and you're like, well, what is that about? It's the cut. Like that bit of the cow it's
perfectly proportioned to cut into convenient shapes to eat.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
The weird thing, if you go and do like a drawing course, like a how to draw course tutorial online, you will start seeing everything in primitive shapes. In all honesty, like the human body is an oblong and sausages and circles. You start seeing stuff as primitive shapes.
Yeah.
Because that's how you draw.
Yeah,
it's weird.
But if you look at the silhouette of
the cow is definitely
square.
it is quite.
Yeah,
it's a cuboid.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same with sheep as well, although that's mainly because of the wool.
Yeah,
they look kind of oblong as well. Cuboid.
They are weird, but it's.
But yeah, it's bizarre. But yeah, I would love to think that I could cut down and do veggie a couple of times a week instead of meat, but I don't know.
I mean, I have in the sense that when I was eating pork, like actual bacon, we call our turkey bacon, we call it turkin.
Right.
I prefer bakey, but but it's when I was eating bacon sandwiches for breakfast. Like, it's just I've made like the last few weeks I've made this weird change in my diet, and I'm eating more than I ever have.
Right.
But I'm actually slimming down.
God, I wish that was the case for me.
But it's because it's what I'm eating.
Yeah.
So where I was, if I had scrambled egg on toast, I would get 4 eggs and 2 slices of toast.
Right.
Now I'm having like 2 eggs and a slice of wholemeal toast. And then I'm having 2 slices of bacon with it. Well, when I used to eat bacon for breakfast, I would have 4 slices of bacon.
Right.
And it's that sort of thing. But then I'm eating regularly, and like with my dinners, I'm having less of the carbs, and I'm just loading my plate with salad and vegetables and things. So I'm eating more and I'm feeling full up.
See, that's the other thing.
Really
I'm starting to get rid of carbs as well.
I'm not got rid of them. I'm just making sure.
So
I've done this. There's a company called Beachbody, and they do like the Insanity and the P90X and the T25. They're that company. But they have this system of pots. They're color-coded pots.
Right.
And depending on your calorie, like what your calculation is, you can have this many of this pot, this many of this pot. They're different sizes. Like they got a carb pot, which is like quite small. On my particular diet, I can have 3 pots of carbs in that pot a day.
Okay.
And you've got a protein pot, you've got fruits and veg pot, and it's like you can have this many of this.
Okay.
And they say you have to eat everything. I mean, that's what I had. I don't know if you saw it earlier. Where did I put it?
Don't know.
I had this little blue pot.
Yeah.
I had it earlier. It's tiny. Little blue pot. It's for Americans. It is a third cup.
Okay.
Third of a cup size. That's my healthy fats.
Right.
That I can have. But mine, I had 12 almonds in it. I can have 12 almonds a day.
Right.
So I don't fill that up. But generally, certain things they say you have this amount because if you have more than that, But generally, it's like you fill up that pot with healthy fats, and that is your healtty fats for the day.
Mm.
You can fill it up with carbs, and that's your carbs for the day. So that's what I've done.
Right.
I mean, like my carbs is like I think it's like half a cup. So I can have 1.5 cups of carbs a day.
Okay.
I used to have like the amount of pasta I used to have with my bolognese.
Yeah,
It's
no,
crazy.
tell me about it. I
love pasta. We're on wholemeal pasta now.
Right. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And wholemeal rice as well, like brown rice.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not what we were talking about.
Not
we were talking
particularly,
about farming, but
But yeah, like, you know,
You're saying about cutting down on your meats.
the fact is that, like, yeah, the climate change people are like, oh my god, if we don't change today, next week we're all fucked. And everyone, like, general normal people who are kind of like me, concerned about climate change and know it's an issue, but equally are like, if we're fucked, we're fucked. Like, like I could change some of my habits, but if we're fucked in a week, I don't really care. Like, you know,
they are fighting a really difficult fight.
Yeah,
because you've got the best way to get people to change their habits is do it gradually.
Yeah,
a little bit over the time. Like everyone gradually switched over to energy-saving bulbs. Everyone gradually started to recycle. Everyone gradually did this, gradually did that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're saying it's not happening fast enough.
Yeah.
Now they're in this fight now where they're trying to use shock tactics.
Yeah.
Like if we don't do it this year, we're completely fucked. Next year, we're completely fucked.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make people panic into, oh shit, I need to go out and buy bread and milk, otherwise I'm going to have none tomorrow. Like they're trying to go for that.
Yeah.
But then you get people who are sensible like us who go, well, no, not everyone's going to do it, so we're fucked. So what's the point?
Yeah, yeah. And I know that that's not the right.
But going the gradual route of like, you know, if we don't change in 10 years' time, we're going to be fucked. Like they're doing that, and then people go, oh, I've got loads of time. I'll just carry on as I am for now. Yeah. So they're sort of it's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
This is it, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. It's so tough. And I know that my reaction shouldn't be, nah, fuck it.
But when they say if you don't change overnight, we're fucked, it's like, well,
you can't enforce
I haven't got time.
That. Yeah, I need a gradual, like, you know.
Personally, me, I need a plan. Tell me what to do and when to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. Yeah. I'll stick to it. Leave it up to me. I haven't got a clue what I need to do.
I'm exactly the same. Like, I need someone to fucking tell me. But if they're telling me, like, you've got to change now, I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. I don't like surprises.
Give me, like, you know, every month you got to cut this out and do this instead. Yeah. Next month you do, like, give me a plan. Give me a plan.
Tell me what I'll be doing next week and I'll do it.
Give me steps.
This is it. My life is that, like, I when I'm off work and I'm looking after Chloe, it's like, right, okay, so like on Monday we'll do this, Tuesday we'll do that, Wednesday we'll do this, and then that. And when Tuesday comes, it's like, well, we were going to stay in, but it's a really nice day. And Chloe's like, look, it's a nice day. Can we go to the park? I panic.
Right.
But that wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. What are you doing? Like, if the plans change last minute, I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't handle it. I'm going to sit here on my laptop and just ignore the world.
Yeah. How many arguments I've had in the last few years when, like, even if it's like something that I've got in my head that is going to happen, that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like, I've got a thing that is like, I don't know, it's as stupid as, like, when I get home, this is like, I'm going to, you know, it's just going to be like, like, I've got it in my head that I'm going to come home and be like, oh, do you want to go into town and have a meal in town because I just can't be fucked to cook.
Yeah.
And she'll already have made a dinner and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't get bent out of shape, but it kind of it pisses on my parade, if you like, and I'm like, but I haven't communicated this, so I've got no leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But I still get like, oh, for fuck's sake,
I wanted to go out.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I'm totally
the
the
thing is
opposite.
as well,
if I
like-
get home from work thinking, no, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to relax, I'm going to have a nice dinner, and Liz
Mm.
is like, oh, we've been invited out, we're going out. And I'll be like, but I don't want to go out. I want to stay in.
Right. Yeah.
I'm the
yeah.
opposite.
But I know, but that'll be the other thing as well. If I've
Oh.
set my mind to whatever it is that I do,
Yeah.
and something else has happened or is presented, I'm like, I can't deal with that. Like,
I get this one as well. This thing where it's like, right. So it was the other week when I was looking after Chloe. We went to Leeds Castle. The plan was to take Chloe to Leeds Castle,
yeah,
and then we're like, yeah, we'll take Chloe to Leeds Castle. And then I got home, and then the next day or whatever, Liz was like, oh, and she's going to take her friend as well. I'm like, I don't know how to look after somebody else's child.
Yeah.
Why are you giving me somebody else's child? What are you doing? I don't want to go
Don't do
now.
this to
I
me.
really don't want to go now. And then they're like, and then this friend has a sister as well that Chloe's friendly with.
right.
Oh, can so and so come as well? In my head, I'm like, no, two other children, two other
This is
children.
not
but
what
then
I signed
there's
up for.
that part of me that goes, but I don't want her to be left out. Yeah. Go on then. Shit.
And now the onus is on you to be like, nothing bad can happen.
But
on
then
this
these
trip.
two girls were like, can we listen to Slipknot in the car? I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready. So it's, I have that panic mode. It's like, oh, can so-and-so come around? I'm like, I don't know how. I can't cope.
Talking of Slipknot,
Fucking A. I'm glad you said that because I was going to say that after I brought it up.
yeah, number one in the album chart.
Have you listened to it?
Knocking off Ed Sheeran's. I heard the first single and it's fucking amazing.
Unsainted.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The album is great.
Yeah.
It is really fucking good. I was listening to it all
Yeah.
of yesterday.
As much as when they came out, I was like, nah, I don't get it.
What, with Slipknot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It took me until Volume 4, Subliminal Verses
3.
3, yeah,
Volume
whatever
3.
it was.
It's my favourite album. So.
It's absolutely 100,
It's
hands
incredible.
down, is an incredible album. And it was at that point I was like, I can't deny this anymore.
It's really good.
They're really fucking good. Because, there were other ones like Wait and Bleed and
The first, I mean, they called
My
it Volume
Plague
3.
and-
In my head, I go, but that's their fourth album.
Yeah,
It's
because
the third
of,
album with Corey,
Mate, Feed,
Kill Repeat.
Kill, Repeat.
Yeah, I'm like, it's the third album with Corey, but it's their fourth
Yeah,
album with
yeah.
Slipknot. Yeah. That's just me being a
Pedantic.
pedantic bastard, yeah. But Volume 3 is incredible because the first two, should we say, so like Slipknot and what was this? Iowa was the second
That's
one, was
right,
it not? Iowa was quite poppy actually, not poppy, but it was quite commercial metal.
It had My Plague and...
but it was all heavy songs.
Yeah.
Volume 3 stripped it down and they had songs like Circle, which was just...
The acoustic songs on that album are fucking
Exactly,
incredible.
and that's where it really filled it out and made them a more accessible band. And like,
Yeah.
really showed off his voice.
Yes, because he's got a great voice. Like,
he's
if you
got an
listen to
incredible
early
guitar.
Stone Sour, that's when it all went weird, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
he was like, in
Over
Slipknot,
here,
and
yeah.
then like Stone Sour, which was a band he was in before Slipknot.
Yes,
am I right?
yeah. I think
It was kind of
Jim
more
Root,
kind of
that's-
post-grungy kind of stuff, wasn't it? And it was much more sung, clean vocals.
Yeah.
And I really liked Stone Sour. And then Volume 3 came out and he was doing clean vocals in Slipknot. And then Stone Sour went heavy for a bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, this doesn't make any sense anymore. I don't know which band I'm supposed to like.
Yeah.
But no, it's absolutely incredible. And only the fourth metal band in the last decade to have a
Wow.
number one album. And we're talking metal.
And this is in the UK as well.
Yeah.
UK charts.
But he knocked Ed Sheeran off the top spot,
Brilliant.
which is, I mean, you couldn't get two
No,
more
not
diametrically
really.
opposed acts. It's one bloke with a guitar,
And it's like 8, 9, 10 guys.
bearded, sweaty, puking, masked men.
2 of which hold scaffold poles and hit beer barrels.
Making an almighty racket. So back
they're-
in 2010, The Final Frontier by Iron Maiden was number one. Black Sabbath's 13 was number one in 2013, as was Hail to the King by Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh,
Believe
really?
it or not, yeah, apparently so.
Okay. So I was going to say they're very different bands, the other
Yeah.
metal bands, but Avenged Sevenfold,
I like some of their stuff.
couple of songs. I don't like his
no,
voice.
yeah,
It's like, no.
And the whole they're another band that have got a bit of a cult following, aren't they?
Yeah,
massively
cult following. Liz really likes them. I can't stand the guy's voice.
No, I know what you mean.
I really can't.
They've got a couple of good songs.
But this Slipknot album,
We Are Not Your Kind, is the name.
Really,
of the album.
really good. It is really good. I actually, after, because you had Volume 3, didn't you? And then I think it was the Grey chapter after that.
That's right. Yeah, that was after Paul Gray. Paul Gray?
Yeah.
Died in a car crash or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was. What did I read online? Was somebody was saying like though that album wasn't about him. That like there's something that everyone assumed a song was about him, but it actually wasn't. It was about something else. But I actually stopped listening to Slipknot between like Volume 3 and
me
beyond.
too. Yeah.
So I love Volume 3, but then for some reason I didn't listen to like the Grey chapter and the other ones until. What was the song? There was a song that came out that was really popular in subs. Duality, yeah. It was a really good song.
Into my eyes.
That was off of Volume 3, wasn't it?
That was.
No, I don't know. Anyway, we're showing our
ignorance.
Yeah. But anyway, there was a period where I wasn't really listening to them. And then this album, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
They're still there. I didn't realise Joey Jordison wasn't in the band anymore.
No.
Because the new drummer, who's been with them for like 3 albums,
I know.
he wears the same mask, doesn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
And they've got a new guitarist as well.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, I read it.
People don't know who he is still. And he's for this album. He's the new guitarist for the last album.
Yeah.
People still don't know.
People think
true...
they know who he is because there is a tattoo on his arm that they think they figured out who
Because there was an article where Corey's like, I can't believe people still don't know who he is.
Right.
No, he was first came in the Unsainted song, so it is for this album. And people don't know, and he's like, I'm really surprised he's managed to keep his identity secret. Like, people still don't know who he is. So it must be somebody well known.
Yeah.
But...
because the thing is, every time they bring a new album out and they change their masks and stuff, I'm always on there looking at them to see the evolution.
New mask is fucking weird.
Because those 2 extra members, they weren't going to necessarily be numbered members. They weren't going to be official members. They were just going to be like touring members or whatever.
Yeah.
So their original masks were like sackcloths.
Yeah.
They were like Hessian sacks.
Yeah.
But now they've become proper members. They've been allowed to move away from that. It's so fucking like, again, it's so culty.
But it's.
But I like the idea. Like, I remember like when they came out and they were like, oh yeah, because it's not about who we are, it's about the music. And I was like, nah, fuck off. I don't believe you.
It's not about who we are, it's about the music. It's like, don't those masks really like individualise you more and make it more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And then when like Stone Sour came along and 2 of them were unmasked anyway, and then Murder Dolls, Joey was in Murder Dolls playing guitar, right?
Yes.
Unmasked, and you were like, well, it's definitely not about the masks anymore, is it? It's not about the music anymore. The masks are, they're irrelevant at this point, right?
Yeah.
Or they're totally relevant. Like, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. I need to listen to the whole album, I think.
It's really good.
But also, Feeder got into the top 10 with their newest album.
Feeder have a new album?
Tallulah, it's called.
Oh, okay.
Came out this week as well, and they're in the top 10 too.
I need to listen to that.
Which is
then.
quite nice. It's not bad. It's got bits that are kind of old, kind of Echo Parky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because they're one of these bands that has just kept slogging.
Yeah.
And they evolved their sound a little bit. But I
really liked Comfort in Sound.
Yeah,
lots of people really didn't like it, but I really liked that.
It was a massive change because you had Yesterday Went Too Soon is an amazing album.
Yeah.
And then Echo Park followed it up, which was like their most popular one.
Yeah.
And then because the drummer killed himself, the only way they could go was kind of a little bit more melancholy.
Yeah.
But it's such an amazing album.
It really is. I absolutely love it.
I remember listening to it first off and I was like, oh, I don't like that it's gone all sad, but I know why it's gone all sad. And then a couple of years later I was like, no, it's a Stone Cold classic. It's amazing.
It's a brilliant album. It's really well done. And yeah, it's a good way to sort of pay homage to like a lost friend or a lost. If your whole life, your friendship's based around that music, what's the best way you can sort of pay tribute is with music. It's like Slipknot did it.
Yeah. Everyone does it, don't
Yeah.
they? You know, I mean, and every single time I've seen Feeder, they've always said, you know, this one's for departed friends, or they've specifically mentioned. They've specifically mentioned John.
Yeah.
I think, I saw them at a festival once, and they were like, they did "Monkey Gone to Heaven" by the Pixies because it was his favourite song.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, right, this is for John.
That's really cool.
You know.
It's I don't know.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's at number 4, Feeder's album, by the
Wow.
way. So, yeah.
What fucking year is it? Slipknot are at number 1, Feeder's at number 4.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but these are the bands that never go away, you know, whereas you've had, you know, loads and loads of, you know, pop artists and whatever that come and go.
But
Rock bands can last it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the benefits, but it's also one of the benefits of coming up in the industry in like the 90s as well, and the early 2000s, where physical sales were a thing.
Yeah.
And you know, touring was a massive deal. Whereas I know that there's pop festivals and stuff now, but like I don't know. I've never been to one, so I can't really pass judgment. But I can't believe that like acts like Billie Eilish or whoever have got enough songs to do an hour. They might do. They must, I guess. I can only imagine a pop concert. To go to a pop festival, it's like you see 200 acts because they've only got like 3 songs.
Interestingly, Billie Eilish has actually been around longer than we realise.
Right.
It's like I think she's been making music since she was like 13.
Right, yeah.
I
And this
kind of like her.
Yeah.
I kind of like certain songs
I just pulled
of hers.
her name out of the air.
Yeah. There's
Like-
certain songs of hers I really do like. Oh, she's 17, man.
It's ridiculous.
But like she does make her own music. It's weird,
Yeah.
but she makes her own music and
Yeah.
she writes her own songs. She's a legitimate artist.
Yeah. I probably should have picked another name.
Well, no. So she's been active since 2015.
Right.
She's been making music,
Yeah,
so 4
yeah.
years, which is more than you think.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, she's 17 now. So since she was 13, she's been recording music. But it's just recently she's just I think she changed her image quite drastically. But yeah, there are certain artists where they've only been around a year or two, and then they're sort of like third headliners at Glastonbury, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell is that about? You know, like.
Yeah.
But you know, good luck to them. But yeah, it does seem, you know, and it's the same with grime artists as well. Like Stormzy was going forever and ever until he released that album the other year
And just exploded. The funny thing is, it's like when you hear pop artists concerts and you're like, they played every song they've got. When you go and watch like bands like we do, they've been going since the 90s and they play music. You're like, oh, but you didn't play this. Like, we've got 500 songs to pick from. What do you want from us?
Fuck off. Well, it's like we went to see Royal Blood on Wednesday.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw you put videos and stuff.
Yeah, down in Margate.
Yeah, Margate. That was weird.
Yeah, but it's quite cool because it's like quite a little intimate venue, really.
It did look pretty good.
And yeah, like we were sat up in the seats at the side, but I could put my beer down on the floor and not have it knocked over. You know, we like lined up the beers. You know,
Liz, we were talking about concerts and stuff like that, and we were saying, she said, "Oh, have you ever seen Slipknot?" I was like, "No, but I really want to, but I'm scared. I'm scared to go to a Slipknot concert." But then Liz said, "Like, I think they're the only band that I want to see where I would be sat down.
Right.
I don't want to be on the floor when Slipknot go."
No, I mean,
and I kind of want to take Chloe to it just so she can experience that sort of thing. Like she would find it like if we was up on the balcony and when it kicked off and people start moshing, she would probably start laughing because it's just that everyone just does the same thing at the same time. Yeah. Like it's quite a funny sight.
Well, it was interesting being up above the main kind of crowd in this because there was a lot of moshing.
Well, Royal Bloods,
because they're a heavy band.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the fact it's a bassist and a drummer, you know,
crazy.
They make way too much noise for just the two of them. It's crazy. But yeah, it was like when we first got there and Joe was like, "Oh, should we go up and sit down?" I was like, kind of don't want to, but at the same time, it was so fucking hot in there. Like everyone had their tops off.
Really?
It was
sweaty.
Yeah, when I went down, when we went to leave, I put my hand, because when you go down the stairs, they got those little rubber bits on the edges of the stairs.
Yes.
Or plastic.
Yeah.
They were slippery, and I was like, fucking hell, and I reached out for the wall, and the wall was slick.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, it's on my hand. It was a sweat box. So I was really glad, actually, we weren't down there. And to be fair, I'm too old for that bollocks.
It's too old for that shit.
Yeah,
man.
it's like when we go to Brixton now, it's like we get there early to get that bit on the side, on the right-hand side as you go in. There's a little balcony.
Above the stairs for the toilet. Yeah.
And you got a really good view of the stage.
It's great,
you can watch them do their thing, and that's what I'm more interested in now.
Yeah.
So no, that was pretty cool. But what we came home, we were like, what didn't they do? And we went through their thing, and they literally only, because they've only got 2 albums, and both those albums are about 30 to 35 minutes each. They played 2 or 3 new songs, and they only didn't play 2 songs off their 2 albums. So you got to see the entire thing.
That's brilliant, though.
And then some new stuff. It was just really, they're really fucking good. They're one of these bands that occasionally I'm like, oh, fuck off, just talk to us.
Yeah.
But they didn't say a single word between any of the songs.
Really?
All their kind of interaction was like, they'd wave, or they'd put their thumbs up at people. Like, that was it.
That's cool. That's really
but
cool.
like, some bands you're like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
just play a song.
Say thanks or something, or like acknowledge the fact that we're here watching you.
But they were by just putting their thumbs up.
But the fact is, bands that do that and have the songs to back up that level of non-communication. It's like the only other band that I know that can get away with that is Muse.
But do they not interact?
Hardly.
Oh, okay.
He's started to a bit more now, but when I remember going to see him on the Absolution tour, and I think he said maybe 5 words the entire time between songs, but they're Muse.
Yeah.
Like, the music's fucking amazing, and it's the same with Royal Blood. Like, they're such great songs. Like, every single one is a fucking banger.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
I don't really watch them that much. I was just thinking, as we were talking, and you're saying about bands, and we said, what year is it, with Feeder and Slipknot both releasing albums in the charts. Blink-182 have got an album coming out soon as well.
9, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's called 9. I've heard one song off it so far, and it's bullshit. It's the one with that guy from Simple Creatures.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
I don't know.
Because him and Mark have done a thing called Simple Creatures, and it's kind of more electro-y.
This is the guy from All Time Low?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the one song that I heard that's come off this album so far sounds like that, and I'm like, no.
Okay. But, I mean, they were heading that way anyway,
You
weren't they?
just released an album that sounded exactly like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Actually, yeah.
Stop doing this. Like, leave it at your other projects. Like, keep blink.
Because what I was thinking when you were saying about the electronic side of thing, I was like, oh, but they've just done, and it's not. It's because the other day I had a playlist on, and When Your Heart Stops Beating came on from Plus 44. That's not Blink. Yeah.
And that was amazing.
Yeah.
I love Plus 44.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, Blink have got an album coming out. Slipknot have just released an album. Feeder have just released
It's like the late
album.
90s, early 2000s
I love it.
again.
Fucking love it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh well. We had another story from Fred.
Yes. Thank you, Fred.
It's just, when you saying about bands, they just got every song's a banger. It's like every story Fred sends us is a fucking banger. Did you see the story?
I saw the. I don't think I read it.
Henrico County, Virginia. Residents living in Virginia neighborhood woke up to find 3 televisions on their doorsteps.
Oh no, I did. Yeah, I did read this.
It sounds like a great gift until you see the older box sets left at the homes, because they're like old CRT TVs. He's committed to his trade, said homeowner Jim Brooksbank. No need to adjust that dial. Oh god, this reads like a fucking horrible news article from America, and it's from an American. The ABC6 website. But I'm not going to read it because it's okay. And if you didn't believe this, then here. It's that sort of article. The guy was doing it with a TV on his head.
Yeah, it was a bit creepy, wasn't it?
He's wearing a TV on his head.
Yeah.
Because obviously with this new doorbells, they're called Ring doorbells.
Yeah,
They've got the surveillance
You've
camera.
got the cameras in them.
They detect motion, then they record. And yeah, it's a guy just like with a TV on his head delivering TVs to their porches.
It's weird.
Which sounds great until you realise like the
they're old tube TVs, aren't they?
Yeah, and the fact that it's taken up like real precious police because it's the police come and take the TVs away. They have to come along with a truck, load up the TVs.
Because no one knows who it is either. Some people
and it's not the first time.
Is it not?
No, he did it in a different neighbourhood a few years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah, according to the article. I don't think it says it in this article. It's in the video I watched. But yeah, he's done it before.
Yeah.
What? How weird is that?
Yeah. It's very strange.
Like, can you imagine, like, if you were actually awake at the time he was doing it and you heard some noise and you went and checked, there's a guy stood there with a TV on his head.
It would freak me out. Like, even
me.
watching those kind of grainy surveillance footage things where you see this bloke emerge from the darkness with a TV on his head. It's so weird.
Was it Silent Hill?
Yeah.
Had the enemy with the computer monitor as its head, or was it something else?
Was it Silent Hill? It was Silent Hill had the big pyramid head guys and those nurses.
And the nurses.
Which was scary. I know what you mean.
I seem to remember there was an enemy with a TV and I know Saga had the comic book Saga had the characters with like the computer like as his head.
No, I know. I've seen that as well. I don't know whether it's Silent Hill or whether it's something else, but I do. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. And yeah, it kind of, there was the first time I saw it, it kind of freaked me out a little bit because it's got that horror aesthetic to it, like that kind of paranormal activity look to it because it's on surveillance camera, isn't it? And he just emerges from the dark, this human figure
with a TV,
massive square blank faced head, like freaky. But then
would it be scarier if it had like the old smiley, like just. But like the semicolon bracket one, but like,
or like the Joker in one of the Arkham games. He set up little models of himself with a TV set on the head with his face projected from the TV.
Yeah. I don't know what's scarier, the blank image or actually an image of a face.
Yeah, probably an image on the thing would be scarier, maybe, depending on what the image was. But
it's so weird. Why? I don't know. This is it's weird. Like you look at it and you go, that's really weird. And then you think, why? What does he gain from doing this?
Yeah, is it just like some? It's just a prank,
not an art
isn't
project.
It? No, it's just a prank, isn't it? Like it's something that he knows that he's going to be on the news or something, isn't it?
But nobody knows who it is.
No. But
he does.
It's that, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's that you know that you've done this thing that no one can work out.
It's like a crime out of Scooby-Doo, isn't it? Like it doesn't have.
Yeah, where quite literally you could catch the guy in the act,
pull the mask off.
Oh, it's the caretaker.
But it doesn't. He's not causing any harm.
No,
it's a real Scooby-Doo fucking crime.
It's just a nuisance, isn't it? I suppose, if anything.
But I love pranks like that don't hurt anyone.
No, and it's taken up police time, but it's not malicious in any way. Like,
yeah, it's one of my favourite YouTube pranks. There's no YouTube prank. One of my favourite pranks. These might be old ones from like the people might have done them years ago. Like from was it Break TV? Was like the old chat website. There was lots of or Eborm's World, stuff like that. Back in those days, but two of my favourite pranks.
Back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
But these are recent. These are recent versions of it I've seen. There's a guy in Ireland who walks around with a stack of cardboard boxes.
All right.
And it's got like packing tape all up the side.
Right.
But between each box is a little bit of slack.
Right.
So he walks up to people and tips it towards them, so it just leans over. And they're all like, oh, and it just doesn't fall on them. And I love that because it doesn't cause any harm.
Yeah.
And it comes up and they're like, oh, you fucker. Like, it's proper like real deep Irish accent.
Yeah.
And the other one I really like is one in America where a guy is walking around with two super soakers. And he just slides one across the floor to someone. He's like, come on! Like, then he starts going, and they have a water fight in the middle of the... it's brilliant.
Yeah, because
it's a really hot place as well,
Yeah.
so like you can tell.
Yeah,
and they just have a water fight.
Yeah.
like just random people.
Yeah, there's
It's
nothing
great.
wrong with that at all. I like the harmless prank.
I do like the scary snowman. I like the ones where they
Yeah.
sort of make people jump.
Yeah.
You get the guy dressed as a bush.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
The ones where like you get the guy dressed up as a scary nun or a zombie chasing people is a bit more sinister.
Yeah.
Like you could really scare
Because
people
it's kind of
with that.
proper scary, isn't it?
You get that. Have you seen the guy in the lift with a keyboard?
No.
Like he's
What,
got
is
a
he
keyboard
doing
set up and
music?
it opens and then he starts playing a song as people get into the lift.
Right.
You get ones like the lifts where people have a disco set up in the lift. As the lift opens, they're sort of in the lift dancing. Like stuff like that is just great.
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, this dressed up as a TV. Like, what?
Yeah.
And there's no one there. Like you're not doing it to someone.
You're not even seeing the reaction of the person, because you don't get to see, even in the news things, you're not seeing the reaction of the person when they open their door.
No.
So you're not getting that out of it. It's literally knowing that you've done a thing and no one will understand it.
It's like you're watching the news. It's like lots of people woke up and were confused to find TVs on their
you're
porch,
like,
and you're like, yeah,
yeah.
that was me. What? Like, it's great. Like, it is funny, and then the fact we've got the videos of it as well is brilliant. The fact that it was like middle of the night. He didn't need to dress up. He could have just gone and left TVs.
Yeah,
but the
with
fact
like a balaclava on or something.
But the fact then you get the video of this guy and he's like, "Oh, I put a TV on my head while I did it." Oh,
the world needs more harmless pranks, I think.
it does. It does. I need
rather than people shouting at teenagers or telling you need to stop things right now.
Yeah, I mean
else.
the water gun prank I think was done on a college campus, so you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Like if you tried to
Yeah,
do
it
that in
probably
the
wouldn't
middle of
work in the
Maidstone,
middle of, yeah, I was going to say London, but yeah, Maidstone as well. Probably
not going to
wouldn't
happen.
work, nah.
You could probably do it if you go to like one of the parks in London. You might, where there's families, you might get away with it.
Yeah.
But doing it like sort of walking down Tottenham Court Road or Regent Street, probably not going to.
Why not? The city, like financial district.
Yeah,
Not gonna
doing the
happen.
square mile. Guys, I don't know actually. They might be coked up enough to find it funny.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, I think the world needs more harmless pranks. That's what we learned this week, I think.
or random acts of kindness.
Random acts of kindness. That's the one. Yeah, I was trying to think. There was another word for it. But,
Yeah, random acts of kindness. I like that idea. I think there's like a yearly scavenger hunt, like an online thing. It's like a global scavenger hunt, and it's all based around random acts of kindness.
Right.
Where you actually have to go out and do stuff, prove that you've done it, upload it, and you win like a massive holiday or something.
Oh yeah.
If you like your team wins, you get a big holiday.
Oh, there you go.
It's cool.
We'll look that up then.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what it's called because I don't know.
Nah, I was gonna go on something else, but it's kind of negative, and I don't wanna leave it on a negative one.
No.
I want to leave it on this positive note.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do it.
Brilliant. Maybe an after the podcast.
Maybe, yeah, sure, because we might be doing gaming as well, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we doing gaming? Because we haven't really announced the end of the poll.
No, so I was wondering because the last Portal part comes out for non-patrons tomorrow.
Yeah.
But the patrons have already had the last one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether to leave it another fortnight or should. No, it's been 2 weeks, and I tweeted it out enough.
Yeah,
that
I shared
people,
it as well.
If people wanted to vote on it, they've had enough time to vote on it.
Yeah.
If they wanted to change the outcome of the poll, they could have done. I think we closed the poll.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to go and play Alien Isolation in that case.
Yeah, all right, cool. I've already got it downloaded. I brought my controller just in case. I mean, it's on the post anyway. The how. Oh, fuck off.
I didn't do anything.
If I wanted it to open in the app, I would have said. I hate this when it opens the app. Like, no, the app's for my personal patron. Yeah, well, I think it displays on there how successful the poll was and how many votes we had and stuff like that. So, with a massive 100% for votes, Alien Isolation came out on top. I can tell you who voted as well.
Yeah, thanks to those who voted. Yeah, name them. Name
and shame.
No, name and celebrate.
So we had Andy, my dad, Andrew, and Smokey.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks,
and they
guys.
all said Alien Isolation, and that's what we're going to do.
And I think Andy even commented and said this is going to be brilliant. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
We had a really good suggestion as well from Scott Sargison. And what was it he said?
That's true, yes. What was that?
Fuck.
We were literally watching it at the beginning of the episode.
He said The Witcher 3 at first. He said that should do you for a good 300 episodes, which, that could get kind of boring.
I'd like to, believe me.
I really do. I have played it. Undertale was the other one.
That's right.
I have played The Witcher 3. Like I sunk about 20 hours into it and hardly got anywhere at all. But it's really good, and I have got it on my laptop as well. We're not going to, but
It's a
also
possibility,
Undertale looks like a real surreal RPG
rhythm. It looks mental.
Puzzle mini game. So I'm not sure, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it as well. So, but yeah, we'll start Alien Isolation, I suppose. Then
sure,
go for it.
Why not? It's dark enough in here today. It's just started raining, so there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the start, it does start quite slow to set up the story, so I might have to think about how we're gonna edit that. We need, in all honesty, for Alien Isolation, we need webcam, don't we?
Yeah.
I've got it with me.
Oh right. Oh okay.
I believe. Anyway, we'll sort that anyway.
We'll sort that out after the episode. It's been really good. It's been really positive. I hope that we haven't come across too dickish with our refusal to change our habits. We want to, but just not this week.
Yeah,
give us a time. Give us a plan.
Yeah. I want a timetable.
Extinction Rebellion, if you're listening, which we know you are. But yeah, so random acts of kindness as well. Get out there and start spreading a little bit more cheer in the world.
It's just weird. It's weird that. As I say, it's weird that came up. It was me that brought it up.
I keep meaning to chat. I've been trying to close this episode down for 10 minutes.
Sorry, randomactsofkindness.org. So if you want some ideas, if you want to be a bit more positive in your life,
go for it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.